Okay, howdy, AP and IB math. AP Pre-Cal and IB analysis and approaches is what I teach, year one. This is the follow-up video. I give some of my philosophy and thought process in the first one, so make sure you watch that. This PDF, I intend to give you access to it in the description of the video, in the video description. Okay, so following up, this is what I think most important thing to walk into any of the classes that I'm teaching, my IB class or my AP Pre-Cal. If you know how to do this, then everything is easier, okay? If you don't, then go practice and get good at it. What I think is hugely important for us are 45, 45, 90 triangles and 30, 60, 90 triangles. So the way I've seen it taught a few different ways, but you could say 1, 1, root 2 for the 45, 45, 90. You could do with the 45, that's not a 45, but x root 2. However you want to set that up, you can do like similar triangles. Basically what's happening here is you're using Pythagorean theorem. If you know it's a 45, 45, 90 triangle, these are both the same. You would say x squared plus x squared is equal to c squared. Well, notice there are two x squareds is equal to c squared. Well, we want to solve for c, so we have the square root of 2, and then we have x, the square root of x squared is x. Well, it's the absolute value of x, but these are lengths, so then that's root 2 times x, or x root 2 is how I wrote it here. Okay, so basically with this one, what we can do, I'm going to do 2 of them maybe, and then you can practice the other 2, and then go to the CUDA worksheets. I've got 2 different worksheets there linked on the PDF. Or Google it, just practice 30, 60, 90. You just got to be so good. Oh, this was 45, 45, 90. But practice for special rights because they are hugely important in Pre-Cal. So with this one, I might say, there's more than one way to do this, but 4 root 6 corresponds to this over root 2 is equal to x over 1. Well, x over 1 is just x. The inside stuff divides with the inside stuff, and this just gives me x is equal to 4 root 3. So both of them are 4 root 3. There you go. Okay, what am I doing here? Well, now I'm taking this. This goes this. So if you want to set up the ratio, this corresponds to 1 is equal to x corresponds to root 2. I've got to multiply both sides by root 2 to get x by itself. And so when I do that, I have 4 root 6 times root 2. 6 can be written as 2 times 3. There's another 2. I like to say, if you have a date, then you get to go out. If you don't have a date, you have to stay home under the radical sign. That was back when I taught Algebra 1 many years ago. And so this becomes 8 root 3 because the 4 times the 2 that came out from these right here. I'm assuming that you're really ready for my class. So if this is totally confusing and you have no idea what I'm talking about, then come talk to me about whether AP and IB are the best fit for you. That sounds terrible, but it's really true. Okay, 30, 60, 90. Anyway, because you have to have 4 math classes, but it doesn't necessarily have to be one of these. So I assume that you're good at this and you just need to dust the cobwebs off. If you're looking at this going, I have no idea what you're saying, I've never heard this before in my life, then come talk to me. Okay. So this next one, if it's a 30, 60, 90 triangle, what we like to do with those is opposite the 30, here's the 60. It's 1, opposite the 60 is root 3, and the hypotenuse is 2. Okay, let's talk real fast. Just dust off the cobwebs about where this comes from. Basically, if I have an equilateral triangle and I drop in an altitude, an equilateral triangle would have 60-degree angles everywhere, and then when you split this in half, it gets you 30, and so here's your 30, 60, 90. Well, if I want to call this 1, that means in this whole thing right here would be, not only, your altitude is also it's also bisecting this side right here. It's perpendicular, it bisects this, it bisects that segment, so this would be 1, so the whole thing is 2, which means this is 2. Oh my goodness, okay. Let's call this x for the time being, and we'll say x squared plus 1 squared is equal to 2 squared. Okay, and then I have x squared is equal to 4 minus 1 is 3. And so x would be equal to root 3. And so if we want to set up a triangle to compare to, here's the 30. Opposite the 30 is 1. Opposite the 60 is root 3. And opposite the 90 is 2. Or you could say if you are familiar with doing, here's the 30, here's the 60, this is x root 3, and this is 2x. Okay? So I'll do one with you or whatever. Okay, if this is opposite the 90, then opposite the 30 is going to be half of that. Half of 10 is 5 root 5. Half of 10 is 5. Half of 10 root 5 is 5 root 5. Okay, and then opposite the 60, we have to multiply this guy by root 3, and so we get 5 root 15. Okay, practice those. Be really good at that. You're just setting up those ratios and stuff. And then come back for the last video where we see if I really do remember my powers. Okay, hopefully this is helpful. Like, subscribe, comment, all the things. Make sure you get lots of good practice in. Bye.